The thing that Father Carlos Martin said, he said, look, this is the greatest movie on exorcism ever. He says, this is what happens every day.
Carrie Sullivan, Chuck Noselman, the writers and directors and producers of Nefarious. It is a very unique film in so many ways. Not your typical Hollywood suspense thriller, not your typical Hollywood possession film. And I've had a lot of people asking me questions about it. Like, for instance, is there blasphemy in this film? Is it Catholic in its core? I mean, there's just been a lot of questions, and I think people are getting very excited about this. You had a successful red carpet event. How are you feeling going into opening night, April 14th?
Well, we're fighting the good fight, like in any other battle where good and evil are facing each other. You know, the movie brings light to the darkness and drags the devil out of the shadows. And we're very excited about it. You know, to us, this is not a movie. This is ministry. This is work for the Lord. You know, as far as blasphemy and all those things that people would be concerned are, or even the R rating, none of that is applicable because, look, we're devout Catholics, and what we do is Catholic. And, you know, we serve the Lord, and we feel that we've served him in this movie in a profound way. So we're very, very excited about it.
You did have a priest on site. Can you talk about that? What was that like for you and for the crew? And what was the role of the priest that you had working with you?
Sure, we had a ministry team. We had for the Christians who weren't Catholic, we had a husband and wife minister team, and then we had a Catholic priest who's trained as an exorcist. And ironically, during shooting, now this is only 2.5 weeks of time, our exorcist priest had an emergency appendectomy, and he was told by his surgeon that the appendix burst during removal. That had he arrived at the hospital just 1 hour later, died.
Wow.
And, you know, at the premiere, one of the things that you wouldn't probably have known at that point is that a few hours earlier, one of our guests was another exorcist, Father Carlos Martin, who's the host of the Exorcist Files podcast. And in the suite where we were interviewing celebrities, we had some demonic activity manifest itself. And he went right into the Latin rite of the exorcism of place.
Wow.
And had some demonic activity just with him right there in the room.
That is, it's an incredible story. He told me about that because he and I sat and watched the film at the premiere together. And then after the film was over, we just sat and talked for like a half hour. He was telling me all about that experience and how he had, in fact, he had left. He had walked away. Like he went for a walk or something like that. And his phone was turned off and you guys were trying to get a hold of him and nobody could get a hold of the guy. So, I mean, there was so many circumstances and incidents. It would seem to me that, and he actually said this to me. He said the very fact that that there would be so much harassment in relation to making this film, in relation to getting this film out to the public. He said, this is one of the greatest endorsements you could have. Do you feel that if the devil himself is harassing you, that is an endorsement to your film?
Oh, of course. I mean, we had the roof of our office building in Burbank ripped off. We had 8 car accidents in about 11 days when we were shooting. But ironically, the car accidents were real. A lot of the cars were totaled, but not a person was hurt. So you see the battle between good and evil. God protects, the devil, tries to attack. I mean, I could go on and on. It's an everyday thing. Every electrical device doesn't work. Every email doesn't work. Today, the Zoom, we couldn't get on in the Zoom. We're supposed to see our pretty faces. Your audience is very lucky that didn't happen. So that was probably a God thing. But, I mean, look, the devil is real. That's what the movie is about. But we don't go over the top. The thing that Father Carlos Martin said, he said, look, this is the greatest movie on exorcism ever. He says, this is what happens every day. And so we're very excited about it because of that reason. You know, it's a tough subject, but the occult is real. The devil is real. Just look around in the world today, what's going on. Listening to your show, it's all evil. All the subjects, all the things, the FBI and so on. This is evil. We've never seen this kind of evil before.
You know, the acting was very good in this film. I said that a lot when I was on the red carpet. I meant it after having watched it twice. You really do find yourself in the midst of this and feeling the emotions that are going on between these characters. And there really are three characters at play here. There's Edward, there's the demon, and there's the doctor. And as the story went on, I felt more and more sorry for Edward in this film. Talk to me about your actors, how you selected these guys in particular to play these roles, and the quality that they brought to the table.
We knew that Sean was, first of all, the Spirit spoke to us and guided us, because there were options to go with larger actors or better known names. We had worked with Sean in 2004, and we just felt back then that the Lord said, you're going to work a lot with him, and later, not now, but soon, you know, that kind of thing. And so we knew that Sean would be great for it, because he was the most phenomenal actor I've ever seen. And, you know, he's unknown comparatively. I think a lot of that is because of his political stance. You know, he's a conservative. He believes in the Lord, albeit maybe not as much as the average Catholic. You know, he's on his journey. You know, Jordan, same thing. Last moment, looking through, all of a sudden he pops up on my casting, and I'm like, there's something about him, you know, and I felt the Spirit talking to us. So God cast the movie, same thing that when we did Unplanned. He cast the movie. He brings us the people that will perform the best, that pleases him the most, and that will do a great job. So we're very, very fortunate in that way.
How long between concept, writing, production, what was the timeline like? How long did it take you to actually think of this movie and then finish this movie?
It's been nearly 3 years since we started out. We worked on the screenplay. It took longer than usual. We actually, because of the heaviness of the subject matter, we even took a couple month break away from it during COVID. It was just too heavy spiritually, and worked on a comedy and then came back to the work. And then when we tried our first attempt at shooting, we were less than 10 days away from starting the film, and COVID struck, and out of our 15 key personnel, 9 went down. Carrie, the one co-director, wound up in the hospital for 8 days. So we had to go on hiatus. It took us 5 months before we were able to mount to production again. And then we shot in late November and December of 2021, and then it took a year of post-production. And then finally the film was ready for marketing at the beginning of this year.
You also filmed in this prison. How did you locate this prison? How did you get permission? Because this is an active prison. People are still incarcerated there.
Yes, we knew we were shooting in Oklahoma, so we toured the various penitentiaries in Oklahoma. And this facility is the oldest prison in Oklahoma. And just a couple of decades ago, this was actually the most dangerous and deadly prison in the United States. When it was an open yard prison, it was there were more murders there per capita than prison in the United States. There was a lot of history to this place. And
it was also haunted.
It was, yeah, it's also got spiritual. I mean, okay, just an anecdote. So that we were with the chief of the guards who's been there for over 40 years. And when they break in a new guard, sometimes they forget to tell them that late at night you're not supposed to see anything. And so there's a huge cell house that's been vacant for the better part of 30 years. And sometimes they'll be walking and there'll be a light on and the sound of a shower running. And the new guy will comment on that. Well, the problem is that the first thing that's a little odd is there's been no power and no water to that wing in 30 years.
Oh, wow.
But now they have an incident, and when they have an incident, they have to go investigate it. So whoever's the senior guard at that point usually expresses a bit of colorful language, and then they have to go investigate the incident. And that's one of the manifestations that they see there.
Tell us about the script writing process.
Well, I mean, you know, we're two guys from Jersey, so our language doesn't sound like the language in the script. So you know who wrote the script? It was the Holy Spirit. I mean, we're not that smart, but we are smart enough to realize that the Spirit will work if you're chosen to and you allow the Spirit to work through you. And that honestly is what happened. But, you know, we did do our research. When we take on a project, no matter what it is, we deeply dive into the project. And, you know, we were very careful in this project. We use no demonic or satanic motivation. In other words, you know, everyone who makes a horror movie now goes, demonic and satanic. I believe people are being possessed in a lot of cases when they go to a movie theater to watch that garbage. This is a Catholic movie from beginning to end. You talk about catechesis. Yes, this is what we do. We are devout believers. We love the Lord. This is our ministry. We love our Blessed Mother. I mean, we invoke them. We wrote the script. It was a very difficult. By the way, 3 years to make a movie is insane. You know, we make a movie in 8, 10, 12 months,
Wow.
14 months. That's what normally happens. So that's the kind of struggle we're dealing with.
Yeah.
But we knew we had to do it right because we knew we had to convince people through the movie that there is evil, there is the devil, and he's after your soul. And so we did it in a profound way. 2 men over a table talking. And I think it's really, really compelling and powerful.